What is up, fellas? We are back with a random video of this week. It's been a couple weeks since we dropped a video, trying to get a whole bunch of stuff out here. But first thing is first, we are finally getting ready to do this next giveaway. If you're not familiar with this channel, we have already done 2 fat tire giveaways for our Harleys. The second one is actually going to be on its way up here this week. Get him up here, get them all done up, get the recorded video, and get Zach from North Carolina on his way with a nice fat tire setup. And he actually chose to do the air ride on that one too. So stay tuned, but this next giveaway, we are actually doing something bigger. And when I say bigger, I mean bigger. So stay tuned for this next giveaway. All you'll have to do is go to our store, fbombbaggers.com. Buy anything in our store, you're automatically going to be entered. Don't do it right now, because like I said, in a week or so, if not less, we will actually be announcing the true new live giveaway. So stay tuned for that. But on a side note, what we're actually here for is the one crazy thing that's blowing up the Harley internet this past few days, and this will be the 2023 Harley CVO leak. And what I've noticed is one big thing that none of these guys are talking about. And why I say none of these guys are talking about is because I think most of these guys are just YouTube guys that say hobbyists that just ride a Harley, don't do what we do every day. We are in and out on Harley baggers. This is what we do for a living. We build them, we customize them, so we see everything. And just from these few pictures, there's one huge thing at the end that I'm going to talk about that no one's pointed out. So I'm going to start with these pictures that I'm just going to get my face out of here, and we're going to throw the same pictures up so we're on the same page. This first one. So if you're not familiar at this point, Harley, someone leaked these pictures to I forget who, and these 3 pictures or 2 pictures got posted, and then at this point everyone's speculating this and or that. So we're going to start off with this Road Glide, and I'll flip back to these 2 pictures back and forth, and this is the better version picture. So this is the front, and right off the bat what you can see is we have a brand new front end, which brand new headlight. The turn signals are now gone, which means the turn signal is definitely on the side of that headlight. They have inverted forks. And then if you switch to the side view, you have the Brembo brakes with the inverted forks. Now, I'll give this away, no one's talking about is, I believe that's a 13-inch rotor. That's no longer an 11/8-inch rotor, that's a 13-inch rotor by the size of it versus that 19-inch wheel. So that's a big change right there. The next one would be the windshield. Those windshield tabs, which is a better you can see a better clear picture on the Street Glide when we switch over to that one. Those windshield tabs or stops on there are meant for an electric windshield. This thing's going to have an electric windshield. The only thing I can hope for is that this is just some special version. It's not going to be like this on all the models, because that electric windshield crap to me is just BMW and Indian, and it gets all just too much going on. And I hate to say it, if they want to have one single model like this, that's perfectly fine. But I hope they don't do that. I hope they don't do these on every model. You can look on the bottom of the fairing, which we have is called the lower fairing and or chin spoiler, which we would call it. That is completely different. When you look at the side view, you can see that the chin spoiler, the black version on the bottom, for whatever reason, isn't painted. They have a shorty ST style fender on there, which I don't know what's going on. Because like I said, when you look at the side view now, I would only hope that this is a distorted picture from this phone that made that fairing look that horrible, because that thing is huge compared to the tank and the front end. That just, it has to be the corner of the picture and it, blown up. But even still, looking at the lights in the background, we know it's a real factory at this point. But looking at the lights in the background and everything, all the lines and the pipes on the ceiling, they're all straight. They're not distorted. So this is pretty goofy. Looking at this picture, okay, the fairing is mounted, but like I said, the fairing is mounted, but look at the bars. The bars are still pulled back. The bars are still pulled back. I don't see a clutch line. I don't see a clutch cable. So did they switch back to hydraulic? We don't know that. Did they get their issue resolved? That's why they originally switched to a cable again, because they claimed the customers wanted it. It wasn't because the customers wanted it, because they had a oiling issue or a breathing issue from the trans side to the bleeding over to the primary. But those bars are still pulled back. So is that because they're putting something with that windshield on, and they got to mount the windshield and get that all tested before they tighten the bars? So who knows on that. This model, And I'm not familiar too much with the CVOs. I don't know if they all come with heel and toe still, but usually all the new bikes come with heel or toe only. So this has heel and toe, and this one's got a mix of chrome and black, which same thing, that doesn't make sense because it has the CVO spoke style rim that's contrast, and then it has a chrome crash bar and chrome shifter pegs. So that's goofy. And then for all these guys that get all giddy, it's got 121. Oh my lord, it's got a whopping 4 more cubic inches than the 117. So I guarantee if you compare these to each other on the street or the dyno, we're talking about like minimal horsepower, a couple horsepower, but you guys see bigger numbers and you think it's you know, it's going to be a huge deal. It's not. Get an SNS big bore kit or any of these other big bore kits. SNS has a 136 kit right now out. That's been out for how many months now? I think 4 or 5 months for the 117 kit. So like it's already bigger than Harley's 135, but everyone's all giddy about it. That's what I've noticed on here. Yeah, it's got new tank badging, whatever, but you know, same thing. Just boring to me. I would never buy, on a side note, I would never buy a CVO. They're overpriced. You're better off buying a Street Glide Special, and you know, for all the crap that it comes with, it's not worth it. But people just want to be cool like the other 5,000 people that bought the same paint scheme. So that's my rant on the Road Glide, which I completely think is ugly. Going to the Street Glide, I dig this fairing. I dig what they did with the turn signals. Same thing, they're gone. Are those sequential turn lights, or are they just going to all light up amber at once? So I guess we have to see about that one. Almost looks like they took the Fat Boy headlight and then just made it work on this one. Now you can see the picture if you zoom into it. Well, I guess I'll zoom into it. You can see those pads on the windshield where the air dam is, above the air dam. Is that air dam still functional, or is it dummy now like they changed on that? That's an electric windshield. That's not just for a stock windshield. So guarantee that's going to have an electric windshield on this model. Air cleaner is now different. You can tell it's a black air cleaner, and you know, I don't even know if that's a filter or a cover on the front of that. But that's the noticeable stuff. It looks like the mirrors are even different. They have a square to them on the side, because even if you zoom in on the whole fairing, it's reshaped, and I love the contours of it. It looks actually badass. So whoever designed the Street Glide, you did a good job on the front fairing. Did they do anything on the bags, or are we just keeping the bags the same? So that's the big thing here. Now let's talk about what no one else has talked about. Because like I said, most of these guys aren't on these bikes like we are, me and Macho, every day. It is a big, big sign that something has changed. And here's my theory, which I almost guarantee it's got to be true. So I said it first. Look at where the coil pack is on this thing. The coil pack is now in the center where the horn was. The horn is probably in between the down tubes in the front, you know, under the chin spoiler, so that's no big deal. They moved it over there. Why would they put the coil pack in between the cylinders like that? The only reason they would do that was because they needed space by the frame. So from this picture, you can see the whole bottom of the frame is now smoothed out where the coil pack used to originally be, which is right, I'll try to put a thumbs or whatever, a finger right behind this rear cylinder. Why did they do that? So let's go back a couple years. Here's a picture of a 2016 Softail. The coil pack is on the rear of this one. It was on its own mounted tab. Now what happened when they switched to the M8 and they switched over? Now let's jump to a 2018 Fat Boy. Look where the coil pack is. The coil pack's now in the center just like this. Why did they do this? Now the M8s have a mono shock. There's no longer dual shocks like the old ones that were on the bottom of the, you know, under the engine. There's a single mono shock that sits right under the battery on the new M8 Softails. My theory is whatever this bike is, this frame has a mono shock on it. Now, is this going to be specific, like I said, to this model because this has the inverted forks, the 13-inch rotors? Is this an ST style bike that's going to be something special and on its own, or are they going to do this to everything and every other touring bike? I hope they don't. I hope this is just a special model. I don't want a mono shock. Yes, they do ride better, but for what we do air ride and all that stuff. It's just, when we do all this custom stuff, it's nice to have that space under there. And you know, I guess down the line we'll have to see what it's going to look like, and it's a matter of just switching. Because knowing Harley, I'm going to give you guys a tutorial. Knowing Harley, they didn't change this frame completely, so it'll probably have the same back subframe mount and then even the same swing arm mount, because they're not changing the casing and everything out where the swing arm mounts to the transmission. We could switch back to the old style two-shock style. So Harley doesn't put effort into changing things drastically. They try to use old stuff and repackage it, which I can guarantee you, not to ramble on too much, but that will be the good thing. If this thing has a monoshock, I guarantee you we'll be able to just swap out a swing arm and or a subframe of the rear, and then get back to the dual shocks like we need to be. I don't know what's going to happen. Not a lot of people know. I don't even know how this picture got leaked, who did it, that, you know, it's setting a buzz everywhere. There's got to be some other stuff changed on this bike. Other than that, we'll have to see if the bags are and whatnot and what they're going to call this bike. But that's my big bet, is that it's going to have a monoshock. So just from what I've seen, what we've seen before, that's got to be it. So let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment. Are you with me? Do you think the CVOs are completely overpriced? Would you be like me and just buy? I mean, in reality, I work on them for a living, so I like to buy standards because they're basic and we build them up. But even a special, you're better off buying that because of the fancy paint job that you get on a CVO and the aftermarket boom and Rockford radio. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to working on this stuff so much. But drop a comment below. Hit that subscribe button. Like I said, if you're a new subscriber or a new follower, stay tuned because we're doing a giveaway that's going to be big and it's going to be universal for every Harley owner. It's thought outside of the box and it's well worth it for the weight and the entries. So don't forget. So either way, stay tuned to the next one. All right, peace.